This is more about life in the time of the coronavirus epidemic, except it's still about half a year ago, at least. The slower pace of life provided by the epidemic gave me plenty of time to read. I read some books by two men, and I not only enjoyed them, the books, but I also fell in love with the men who wrote them. So I am calling this love in the time of the coronavirus. Both of the men were Jewish, and both of them were hooked into Hollywood, the movies. The first was Robert Evans. He wrote The Kid Stays in the Picture. What a great, lively, tumbling book. Non-fiction at its very best. Fantastic dialogue, thrilling characters, celebrity-studded, high-stakes drama, backstabbing, ear-splitting, even a murder. At an early age, like 14 years old, Evans fell in with Mike Todd, the movie producer, who married Liz Taylor, who told him, "It ain't no run unless you play for more than you can lose." Evans started out as an actor, but he really wanted to be Daryl Zanuck. He got into production and became the head of a studio, the Mountain, Paramount. Everyone thought he'd last a week or less, but the kid stayed in the picture. He'd pull off an unbelievable deal, then turn around and top it, and so on. Also married 4 times, staunchly unfaithful to them all. He was competitive, combative, pressing your luck is what it's all about. His epitaph? Let's try, "Eat those bananas, motherfuckers." Fighting is healthy, he wrote. If everybody has too much reverence for each other or for the material, the results are invariably underwhelming. It's irreverence that makes things sizzle. It's irreverence that gives you a shot at touching magic. And he wrote, either you pull down that beautiful brass ring or you get them brass knuckles right in the balls. No second time around, pal. That's the film business. Everyone in it knows it. Evans often talked about his intransigence, his best quality. I had to look it up. It's a refusal to compromise, an unwillingness to change your mind, pure stubbornness, adamantine. Evans was a knight. White? Black? I dunno. I loved him, vicariously. Up close, he might have burned me. I think I still would have loved him. The other author is Charles Grodin. Very different chap. Milder. I read 2 of his books. It Would Be So Nice If You Weren't Here, and How I Got to Be Whoever It Is I Am. I loved those titles. I loved him too. Grodin was quirky, offbeat, introspective, not given to anger, and a true dyed-in-the-wool egalitarian. He thought people should be considerate of others, and learned not many are, not really. Like Evans, he made a living on rejection. He dedicated one of his books to people who are finding out that life is much harder than they thought it would be. Grodin thought it would be good if people could be nice to each other. I see all of us as more or less on the ropes, he wrote. He was an actor, director, writer, producer, mostly someone who could completely engage with whatever it was he was working on. Total dedication. He stopped doing movies to spend more time with his family and found out they were fine. They didn't need him all that much. He was a funny guy, less a knight than a jester. But he fought for what he believed in and worked for charitable causes, especially prison reform. He died before I finished his books. Made me sad, but he was 86, so I figured he was ready to go and had lived a good life. I have heard there is a ceasefire in the war between Israel and the Palestinians, and so far there is only scant evidence of the cicadas, though they were expected weeks ago. But the epidemic and the last election showed us what to expect from predictions. Our city's baseball team played a club last night that was supposed to be pretty good, but they've been hit by key injuries. One of those injuries was to a player who was the league's MVP last year. He hit a foul ball down into his kneecap and broke it. He's back now, and so far it's clear that he's not the same hitter. He can blast them out in BP, but he can't hit in a game. And last night, one of our young players hit 3 home runs. One thing the epidemic emphasized was unpredictability. It's very hard to say what is going to happen or why, even in a baseball game. It's easy to see why the Greeks put so much stock in fate. Fate is a mystery. It's unpredictability. One of our grandsons attended that ball game last night, his first. Another one came to our home for a visit. While he was stalling over eating a scrambled egg, he asked me, if God made humans, who made God? He's 6. We discussed it, and he concluded, I don't think even my dad knows the answer to that. He did eventually finish that egg, with my help. One final salute to Robert Evans and Charles Grodin.